Okay, so thank you all so much for joining us today. And I wanted to take a minute to thank Tammy Price for taking the time out to be with us today. We are so excited to have her join us and share her experiences and her knowledge and her wisdom with us and encouragement for today. I really think that we all need that. And in case you are not familiar with Tammy, she is an amazing woman who has just been instrumental in helping me and my husband and my family this past year as we've gotten to learn and apply the skills through Danny Johnson's trainings. Tammy does work with Danny, and that's after she has had her own personal experiences for a number of years going through this process herself. So she has an amazing story to share. She herself has paid off over $480,000 worth of debt, and she works for this amazing company, DannyJohnson.com, who has helped tens of thousands of people to become debt-free, to increase their business, to get promoted in their full-time jobs, and to find peace and harmony in their relationships that they have with their families and their colleagues. And we are just blessed and privileged to have her here with us today to share with us one-on-one. So you who are joining us will also have the opportunity to learn from Tammy, to also ask questions. So be thinking about any struggles or challenges you're having. We will have some time to discuss those, and she can share her wisdom with us today. So thank you, Tammy, so much for joining us. We are so appreciative of you taking this time to be here with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Oh my gosh. Thank you also for Wendy, for taking time and making time to set this up, for Jennifer, for Nancy, for Kelly, for everyone who took the time to be on this live call, and everyone who's going to take the time to listen to the recording later. It speaks volumes that you guys are making and taking time in the middle of the day. You've got many other activities going on. You have little ones at home. So thank you for being here. And Todd, hi. Thanks for being here. That's awesome support. So I'm just going to dive right in. I want this to be powerful. I want it to be of good value for you. So I'm going to start out with asking questions. And the reason why is because this helps me to better understand the pulse of what it is you really need, where it is you feel like you're struggling, and what we can do to get you unstuck. Because it's not a one-size-fits-all. I really am a fan of meeting people where they are at, including their beliefs, their struggles, it might not even be business related, but if we can get you unstuck, it's going to move all areas, including your business as well, because everything intertwines, it overlaps. So, I'll start just so you have a better idea who I am, and thank you for that amazing introduction, Wendy. Believe it or not, I used to hate people, and maybe some of you can relate. Maybe you can't. I came from a place of absolutely hating my job. I was a mean, nasty debt collector, hating people. As you could imagine what it would be like to get a call from me as a mean, nasty debt collector, hating people. I was in a mountain of debt myself. I had broken relationships. I was of the opinion that there is no way, shape, or form I am ever getting married. I don't like people enough to get married. And I wasn't worthy of being married to. And truth be said, I had a very low self-esteem. I didn't think I was worthy of success in any way, shape, or form. It could be for everyone else, but not for me. Oh, that's great for you. You go do that. I'm going to sit here in my stuff. So what changed for me was a couple mindset shifts and walking through the doors of a 3-day seminar that totally transformed how I handled things and equipped me with skills that I didn't hate people. I just lacked the skills. Had a ton of debt. Was baby stepped right through how to get that paid off, and today currently debt free, a house and 2 cars later, and a husband. Ended up getting married, used the same stinking training to find my boyfriend, now husband. Moved from Arizona to work for this company because I'm so passionate about seeing people be all they can be, not be stuck, not live the status quo of what social media and what the news and what people who are stuck are saying you should be living in, but really creating a life that you are meant to live, a life by design, a life where we say you step up, you rise up, and you do something great with your life because you are in control of you, and you get to pick and choose what that looks like. So enough about me. I want to talk about Wendy. Are you ready, girl? I have some questions for you. And I want you to really think back to when you began this journey. This is before you walked through the doors of First Steps, before you even knew who Danny was. I want you to tell me what things were like in your life back then. Mindset, any fears, anything going on in your mind, internal dialogue. What was that like for you?
Okay, so back before I actually got to attend my first event, I had heard about Danny Johnson through some friends, but hadn't understood the whole process or anything yet. So at that point, before I attended our first event, we were dealing with a lot of debt, a lot of stress with making sure that we can make payments on our just normal bills every month because, living paycheck to paycheck, never seeming to be able to kind of get ahead. Trying different things over many years. We were focusing on trying to watch spending and do what we can and looking for ways to do that. But we just weren't making the progress that we really wanted to. Also in the middle of trying to work a business, several businesses really. Anything I can do to make some extra money to help us make ends meet. Todd's working full time, lots of hours. But limited on going beyond that at that point. So just a lot of stress, a lot of it dealing around finances, and then just things within relationships also, because of the stress and because of just now looking back, realizing a lot of just avoidance was going on. So I was not living the joy-filled life that I wanted to be living. Just basically trying to do what has to be done every day in the different areas of responsibility that I had. And always just, feeling overwhelmed, like there's no way of catching up, no way of getting a handle on what's going on. Most people don't look at me like that. They're just like, oh, you get so much done. You're doing so great. Everything's awesome. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. I do the best I can. And I do what has to be done, but, a lot of things get pushed to the wayside. Unfortunately, over the years, a lot of that's been my family because I was focusing on doing lots of things for other people. My priorities were out of whack big time. I was, living over capacity. That's something that y'all will be familiar with who've been through the trainings, but not really realizing that or not understanding how to get out of that. Kind of where I was at when I went to that first event.
Wow. And what made you decide to invest that kind of time and money when you didn't have the money? You were living paycheck to paycheck, barely getting by. What made you decide, oh my gosh, I'm going to cough off X amount of dollars, pay for travel, pay for all the access things to get to some event where I don't even know if the results are going to be legit?
Yeah, so that very first event, which was February 2019, so it's just been just over 12 months since we started this process for us. That first event was thanks to some good friends who are on this call with me, who called me up and said, hey, we have this opportunity. Jennifer called me and said, will you go with me? And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. They're like, okay, well, we'll help you cover part of it if you can cover part of it. And then Nancy helped. So my good friends helped get me there to that first one. We were also blessed with some assistance on, our housing for that, accommodations for that first event, which has built some additional amazing relationships in this whole process. So thankful for that. But that's what got me there. And I was definitely encouraged at that event to make the commitment to start that process of learning and understanding that it was going to be necessary to invest and figure out ways to come up with that money in order to start making that investment in our family, in myself, and knowing that it would help not just me personally. If I could work on myself, then hopefully that would then transfer to my family, and helping Todd to get on board, which he can explain his own testimony to how this worked for him. It's pretty awesome too, especially coming from the guy's perspective. So
Yeah.
anyways, that's kind of what got me started. So very blessed by friends who wanted to help invest in me and our family, knowing that we needed it. So and then just I did the part that we did have anyway. So it's been a process getting to come to all the events we have, and it's the Lord has provided. You can buy you can sell things, you can make things. There's all kinds of things you can do to come up with the money for something when you realize how much benefit it can have for you and your family in the long term.
Wow. So what I'm hearing you saying is that it's not just about helping you in a business. It's not just about helping you in an income. It's about something more that can impact you on a, I guess, like, if you want to say like a heart level, or a deeper level of relationships and just your whole life as a whole. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, definitely. So we had been involved in businesses and many business trainings
Mm-hmm.
over the last 20 years. So that was one of the reasons, taking the time to go to one of these was just like, I don't have the money. That's a lot of money. And, not understanding what it was like. But once, we got to go and experience it, it was like, okay, this is not the same thing. Her whole approach, Danny's whole approach is that it's about you first. You cannot be successful in any of those areas of your life until you deal with yourself and your own mindset, and realize and take responsibility for who you are and how you are making your decisions. When you come to the realization that you are in control of all of those things and also responsible for a lot of the negative things you may be seeing in your life, it's hard to deal with, but once you realize that, then you can move forward. You can move forward and make progress in all of those areas and make a commitment then to work on your relationships, work on your finances, work on your business or your job, and come to all those areas as a better person, understanding who you are as a person and what you can offer and what you need to work on.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for your transparency. It's like, so it inspires me every time. Like, that's what gets me, is I love hearing that even you as a rising leader have had struggles, and you started out frustrated and spinning your wheels and dang it, how do I get that next breakthrough? What do I have to do? What's got to change? And you started shifting that question of what has to change in me to get from point A to point B. So Todd, you weren't prepared for this, but hey, I would love to hear your experience of this whole thing, from the first time you heard about this crazy lady screaming from on stage, to what the journey has been like as a spouse supporting someone in a home-based business, and how things have shifted for you from your perception. Would you share?
Yeah, sure.
Thank
So for
you.
me, Wendy's always been the type of person to be involved in just about everything. And she can't just be involved in something. She has to get really involved in everything, right? So when she comes home and says, hey, first of all, she had just come back from a trip with Jennifer from Uganda. And it was not too long after that. So she was gone, 3-4 weeks, something like that. And then she comes back, she's back for a couple of weeks. Hey, I'm going to go out of town again. And I'm like, what? Oh, no, you're not. Well, it's just Houston. I'm like, well, how are we going to pay for this? You've been gone for a month. Your extra income isn't really there right now. So, for me, I'm looking at all the numbers and the financials and how everything adds up, and the ends meet, and we can't do this right now. She said, well, Jennifer said she'll help. And then we were able to get some help with where we're going to stay from this other person who, we know from helping us with the orphanage and supporting the UOCC and stuff. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't know. And so and I was like, I know at this point, I'm telling her no, it's just gonna make her mad. So she went ahead and went, and she comes home and starts telling me all these stories. Oh, you really like Danny? Well, first she said Danny Johnson. I was like, who's this guy? No, first, who's this guy? Danny, who's this Danny guy? And I've never heard it. And no, it's a girl. Oh, okay, whatever. So she comes back, she starts, oh, you don't like Danny. She really is honest. She tells the truth, and she tells you how it is, and she doesn't take excuses. And, if she even cusses from the stage sometimes and all that. And I'm like, well, that kind of sounds interesting, I guess, But I'm like, the last thing I want to do is go to some other motivational speaker person. I didn't really understand what it was, the full, spectrum of everything that she covers. I thought it was just like a business training. I'm like, well, I've been to business trainings, and you go and you listen to someone talk and you feel great, and then they want you to buy something, and it's a lot of money, and you buy it, and then they send you home with no plan, no direction, nothing. See you later. And then, you know, it's like somebody cut you off on the way home and you get mad, and then everything, that whole momentum you just gained is gone because you're right back into where you were before you went. And so, and then you don't know what to do with what you got. And so I was supposed to attend. She didn't tell me, but she bought tickets for the next event, the next First Steps that I didn't know about. The next 2 events. She, like I said, she doesn't just do it a little. She's Ruby, or for, you know, the Young Living, Red, Ruby. Annie's personality, Jim's, is similar to the colors that we're used to hearing. So she's just full on. It's either on or off. There is no in between. If she's going to do it, it's going to be 150%. So I lost where I was going with that.
Next event.
Yeah, she bought 2 tickets, or tickets for me to the next event. Says, by the way, you're going to the next event. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I actually had hurt my Achilles during the time she was at First Steps. I actually called her or texted her and said, hey, I hurt my Achilles and I can't walk right now. So I'm going to the doctor. I went to the med clinic on Friday. I'm going to the doctor on Monday. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I haven't actually worked since then because of that. So I knew I had the time. So I'm like, well, she spent the money and okay, I'll go. Well, then right before we're supposed to go, my mom ends up in the hospital and I can't go. I'm up at the hospital 8-10 hours a day with her for I don't know how long. We thought she was going to go. Then she gets better and it's time for the next event. And then my dad ends up in the hospital. So the next event, and I think they were Chicago and DC, I want to say.
Yeah, DC and
then Chicago. So I missed both of those. I was supposed to go. So here we are coming up on October. I'm still out of work. We still have all the credits from her buying the tickets for those events. So she's, you know, it's in Orlando. I'm like, well, I've never been to Florida. So that sounds cool. I mean, you know, I guess. So we decided, you know what, let's go. We'll just drive. That'll save us some money. Anyway, so I go. The first day, I was kind of like just observing and trying to figure everything out. And then by the end of the weekend, I had made the decision that on Sunday, actually at lunchtime on Sunday, we decided, okay, we need tickets for Dynasty in November. And we're going to get our 2 oldest kids to go to First Steps in January. And we're going to get the tickets now. And I just had to make one phone call and I was able to make it happen. So that the value that I saw in it, because I was very skeptical. I went into it with well, we'll see. You know, it'd be a good weekend in Florida and I'll get out of town for a while. You know, it's been several months since I've actually left San Antonio. So, you know, get out of town and do something and whatever. So I was just blown away. Since then, you know, we've gone to several events, and Hot Marriage Secrets about a month ago was the last one we went to. And just every event, just, you know, I've been to 2 First Steps, and I went in October and then I went in January as well. And each one was different. It's not the same event. She covers some of the same things, but even the way she covers the same things is different because where she's at and where you're at, because she reads the audience and the group that's there. If they're not feeling it, she's going to go in a different direction. You're right. She does that. And it's just, she's real. It's relationships. It's not a business training. Yes, they do offer some business training. And there's some aspects of some of her stuff, some of her products that are business training specifically targeted to home-based businesses. But it's primarily just training you, like Wendy said, because I can't change her, but I can change myself. And me changing myself will help her change herself. Because if I'm not willing to change myself, how can I expect her to change herself? That's kind of the world we live in right now. Everybody wants everyone else to accommodate them, but they're not willing to accommodate anybody else. And that's kind of the world, especially the newer generation coming up. Just, I want it, so I should be able to get it, whether I earned it or deserve it or not. My mommy and daddy told me I could have whatever I wanted just because I wanted it. And so, you know, now we can't find toilet paper. So, you know, although we did just get a shipment from Costco today, it took 2 weeks, but we got it back. So, anyways, it's really about you. It's about your mentality. It's about your attitude. It's about, you know, ruling your own soul and being, even if someone says something you don't like, you're still in charge of how you react. to
Yes.
what is said to you. And that's probably the hardest thing, because we're used to playing the victim. Well, somebody said something that hurt my feelings, instead of saying, I allowed what they said to hurt my feelings. And it's totally up to me, because we a lot of times assign intent behind what people say. And, and that's where, and you learn all that. It's like, wow, this is really good. Where was this? Why didn't we know about this 10 years ago?
Right.
Or whatever, I know
Yeah.
she hasn't been doing it to the public, open to the public for all that, but, it's like, wow, where was this kind of stuff a long time ago? Where was this in the 90s, when we were a young married couple? I'm not
Yeah.
saying we're old now, but we're, we're getting there. But, where was this 20, 25 years ago? Because this would have completely changed our lives, how we raised our children, business decisions, work decisions, life decisions, relationship with family and friends, and even coworkers and people who report to you and your boss. And it's just, it just changes your whole life and your perspective on life.
Wow.
And to say all that, I'm still struggling with some things, even though I've been to 4 events since October. Right? I'm still struggling with things. There are still days where I'm like, I know I should be doing something else, but I absolutely don't want to. And there's some days where I know I should be doing something different and I don't do it. But, and so that's part of the struggle, because I'm 47 years old. So I've had all these years of training and all this marketing and advertising. And so I've been trained one way. And so I have to break that cycle, and it doesn't happen overnight. But the first steps, and I'm excited about online to see how it goes, because we're actually doing a lot of that now. We've been doing War on Debt. When we got back from Dynasty in November, we started doing the War on Debt, and we were offering it online. On this, was it the second time we did it? We did online, or did the first time?
We did it both times.
Both times we did online, so people could zoom in, and we had a few people zoom in. We had a couple people show up in person, but that was nice. So we'd actually been practicing, and we didn't even know what we were practicing for. But we were practicing, and then all of a sudden, hey, we already know how to use Zoom. We already know all the features and how to set everything up, and so we were already kind of ahead of it, because what we had learned from Danny. And we didn't even know what we were doing it for. We didn't realize there was a purpose for what we were doing. We just thought, well, let's try to get more people involved as possible to help them out with War on Debt. So.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you so much for just being so open to share. And it speaks volumes when I see a spouse who is just like, hey, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to, I'll just give this a shot, and what's the worst that could happen? And the fact that you admit that you make mistakes still even to this day, but you realize you have a choice. Am I going to do the things I know I should be doing, or am I just going to kind of sit and chill out and do nothing today, right? So thank you for that transparency. It's absolutely inspiring. So I'm going to invite Jennifer, if I may. I'm going to ask you, I really want to know, I love digging in here because I love seeing people's journey before and where they are now. And the reason why is because it's the human experience. I want to make sure people are being met where they're at. So Jennifer, I would love to hear, I'm going to ask you that same question. Like where were your mindsets at when you started this journey, and how has this impacted you?
Well, I first heard about Danny Johnson, I think from Nancy Sheridan, just kind of hearing it here and there, just like, and so I don't know the original place, but it was like hard to grasp. Well, what is this exactly? It's just another person that, teaches the same business stuff, blah, blah, blah. We hear it all the time. We never know how to apply it. And so I think it was probably you that called me and said, hey, we're going to be in Houston. Why don't you just do this? I'm like, okay. It's probably time to. Anyway, need another business chat. Well, when we went, and I talked Wendy into going, and thank you, Todd, for always being so gracious when I'm pulling Wendy into stuff. I was hoping it was going to be beneficial, and it turned out to be amazingly beneficial. I just love to see how it's benefiting you all. But yeah, it blew me away. It blew both of us away. We're like, whoa, people don't talk about this, and they're not like bold and direct and making sense in that way where you're consuming information and seeing, oh, how this directly applies to everything and you can see it lining up, and you can see, like, looking back, like, okay, here are the problems, and this is how I'm going to proceed to get past those problems. So, and all of the tools are right there and exactly what to do. So it's more than just teaching you how to run a business, how to personally develop in business. It's not just like one part. It's like a holistic approach, right? It's like we have functional doctors that take the whole body into account when they're dealing with a particular problem. And what a lot of business coaches do is they just focus on that one problem area. And so then you make that problem area your whole life. So all the other things are falling apart. And Danny talks about that. It's like, yeah, you can do all of that one thing perfectly. And then you turn around and who do you have left? Nothing. There's a path of destruction. So I don't want a path of destruction. I want everything balanced, and I want to have a purpose for when my when things do end up in business in the right place, that everything else comes along with it.
Wow. I appreciate that. And so, like, what has this done for you? What shifts have you seen in how you approach things?
I take other things into consideration because even my husband was talking to me last night, and he's like, you used to be a serious workaholic. He said, you are still kind of now, but I can see that you're, taking other things into account, like, raising our son and, making sure the house is, focusing on other areas, because that's not what I thought that I would be doing when I went to Danny Johnson to First Steps. I thought that it was just going to be, let's just fix this. So what I've been able to apply, and it just totally turned my thinking around, even though, we kind of innately know that those things are there, but we're like, well, just wait, put it all in the back burner. Right. We'll get this thing, and then everything will come together. But what I'm doing differently now is putting more focus on those other areas, like finances, because if that's a big thing, because if you don't know how to deal with money, then when you get money, you're not going to have it in the end anyway. So, making sure that you can manage it, and just looking behind us where we could see from her teaching on War on Debt, and a lot of Hans's teachings is like, looking back, we're saying, oh yeah, that's why, we've made a lot of money over this period of time. If we knew how to handle it, we would be in a much better position now. And if we don't learn now and start applying those things, then we're going to miss the goal in the end. So yes, I'm applying a lot more about all of those areas. It all has to come together with our family, with the marriage, with finances, obviously, and then the business side is just like, there's just little tweaks that have to be done. But when people look at you, like Danny was talking about, like, no, you can't sell me on your life because I don't want that life. That was a big, like, oh my gosh, what? People don't want what I was selling. And you sell your life, you sell what you're living. So those are things that I've learned. You have to take care of your body also. You can't be all stressed out and freaked out and be like, yes, you want to buy this? No, thank you.
Aw, I definitely appreciate you taking time to share, Jennifer. Big time. Nancy, I'm going to pick on you now. I'm going to invite you. I want you to share your journey. What was going through your mind when you first started, and what change-ups have you seen? What experiences have you seen since you've started to apply and plug in? Uh-oh, we can't hear you. Nancy, I think you might be muted.
Sorry, we had a whole bunch of ruckus happen for a second, so I waited to unmute.
Oh, is everything okay?
Okay. My husband got locked out of the house. That's all.
Oh. Okay.
Well, I have to say that, I don't really remember it was just 3 years ago. Remember that trip to Israel that year with the first Hot Marriage Secrets and the trip to Israel and all of that. So that was the year, or the year before, I guess, the season before was when I went to my first steps. I went to 3 first steps, a dynasty, Hot Marriage Secrets, and the trip to Israel. And that year was so powerful. And I had no idea what I was getting into with Danny Johnson. I really, honestly, all I know is that I was desperate in some ways, in terms of, I think, just me. I mean, figuring out what it is in my life that I was so dissatisfied with. Because for me, I think I had developed a habit of being unhappy with my husband, unhappy with marriage, happy with, thankful for everything that God has provided.
Right.
But I just felt disunity. And my husband he's so gifted. I mean, he's so gifted with numbers. He's so gifted with business. I mean, debt and things like that. I mean, man, he's really a gifted person, and that's not my area. I mean, if you want to talk about getting out of debt and all of that, I can probably teach you how to get into debt. My husband can teach you how to get out of debt, right? So I know that God brought us together for really good reasons, but unity was so missing from our lives. I mean, his personality and my personality are like opposite ends of the universe. And I know now, after everything that Danny was talking about, it was the marriage portion, I believe, that God brought me to Danny Johnson for, because nothing else can really happen well without that unity. We can try, we can use all our giftings, and we can use all our resources that we have. But like I said, I felt like there were so many areas of our life together that was going well, but that lack of unity, that lack of communication. We struggled a lot coming out of deployments. My husband was adopted when he was a little child, and so he was in an orphanage for several years. So there's a lot of challenges in terms of emotional connection for the two of us. And for me I'm a trauma counselor. I'm a very empathetic and compassionate person, and my husband is all business, just them. Bottom line, no talk about anything emotional. He shuts it down, and it's done, right? It's like,
wow,
not in his world.
Yeah.
But he's so high functioning in all these other areas. So when we went to Danny Johnson, and I took my teenagers, all 3 of my teenagers, with me to that, and they took a whole notebook full of notes. So I was thrilled about that, because it's life training. It's life training. And I thought, this is so awesome, because they're getting training at that young age that I didn't know how to be an adult till I was in my 30s.
Wow.
In my 30s, my parents, they had so much brokenness and strife and so much of the world coming down on their heads that they couldn't teach me the things that I needed to be equipped. So I know that Danny Johnson is a part of my not only healing journey, but equipping journey in terms of becoming that fully equipped kingdom builder. There's so many things that God's put in me. My husband is the gifted entrepreneur. So, multiple businesses, like whatever he starts, he'll finish and he'll do it. He's like Wendy. He and Wendy are like, just mind meld. Like whatever I do, I'm going to do it like 1,000%. And for me, I'm just like, oh, let's ease into relationships. Let's get into, community and all of that. So that's completely not his wheelhouse. So for me, when I went in, it just felt like a warm hug. It felt like, gosh, this is what my soul longs for, right? And the truth spoken with so much love. No matter how blunt she is, it still felt like love. So that was phenomenal. So for me, what I came out of it, and the one thing that Steve, he shared with me after Hot Marriage Secrets, and he said, because he is a ruby emerald, high ruby, high emerald, however that happened, right?
The red and the green, right?
Red and the green, and I'm the opposite. I'm the the sapphire and the pearl, high in both. So he told me after the gem segment of it, and we went out to eat for lunch, he said, you know, I've been judging you just for being you all this time. And I didn't know it. He had that
Wow.
revelation. I mean, we've done colors, we've done all of these things, but it was being in that intensive environment and being focused and with all the intentionality of what she was pulling in together. Not only is this going to help you in business, this is going to help you in your life, in your marriage, in your kids. And I think it all came together. And so he was able to speak that. And, you know, that was like just a stream of living water to me to hear. So that was huge, you know. And then when we went to Israel, we got to have a marriage, the renewal of the vows. And that was impromptu. And so for him, I think his mind and his goal was, Nancy wants this. It's important to her. I'm going to do this to show her I love her.
Oh.
That was his mindset. And then after the year was done, he's like, okay, done. I'm going to check that off. I'm going to move on to the next thing. So now, you know, now all our money goes into, you know, we just purchased a new business. So all the money's going into that, or our investments, or, you know, he has this list of things who need to go into this order. Okay, check. I showed Nancy love. Okay, check. Bought a thing. Check. You know, this is like how practical he is. And so I'm like, okay. So I haven't been going to the Danny Johnson meetings, but, you know, I cherish what I have brought out of it, which is for me, that anger and that hurt of, you know, him being so black and white and so, you know, the way that he is, which is just opposite of me. I just didn't understand it. What she helped me do is just learn how to accept the way that he is his gifting, is how God has gifted him. And if my attitude towards him is one of judgment and criticism because he can't meet me in my needs and where I'm at, then of course there's no unity. I'm the one that's pulling away. I'm the one that's shutting down. I'm the one that's, you know, breaking down that bridge. So yeah, I mean, so we have almost all of the Danny Johnson materials in the universe, you know, that up to the point that we last attended.
Yeah.
And so we're slowly going through those things as a family. And I believe that my children are going to have such a great launching point. Yeah. Right now, it's just head knowledge, but it will trickle down as they apply it. But what's the great thing is they're seeing me apply those principles because I've had to struggle. I've had to overcome.
Right.
And our business, you know, in these tough times, our businesses are thriving. Our business, you know, I don't have fear. Why?
So wait a minute. Hold on. I need to digest this again. So with all the craziness that's going on, the things we don't have control over, the economy, the things that are temporarily shut down for who knows how long, you're actually at a place of peace because of an investment of your mind, time, and money in what you chose to do with that a couple years ago.
Equipping.
You're at a place of peace.
More so than I have ever been. So there will be a time when I can go back to just have that fellowship again and the accountability and continue into my next layers of growth, but with that, you know, community. But it doesn't mean I don't do that for myself now. You know, she's equipped me. I have the tools. I have so much I can listen to. It's something that I can carry with and share with my family forever and a day. Yeah. So this is not something that stops when you stop going. You go in and you fill in as much as you can, and then you carry it out. You practice it and make it yours. So that's the time that I'm in right now in the season, because he doesn't see it as necessary. I mean, he doesn't see a lot of things as necessary that I do, but it's okay. Right. You know, we value different things, we prioritize different things, and I'm learning to accept that. I mean, I used to complain about my parents. I finally overcame that, right? And I finally took accountability and ownership over, I'm an adult now. I can parent myself. I can ask God to equip me where I didn't get equipped from them. Then I moved on to, okay, I'm mad at my husband for not being my knight in shining armor. Okay, I broke that, curse and that lie, and I'm finally finding out, oh my gosh, I held myself back so long. So, so now I'm learning, how can I honestly offer to my people and our business the vision that God's given me.
Yeah.
And I'm equipped to do that. So
Awesome.
yeah, thank you, Danny Johnson. Thank you, Tammy, for investing in us. This
Absolutely.
is something that I'm learning. I mean, Wendy is my right hand. So she has done all the things that I just can't function in. She's the one who fills in the gap for me. And she helps me. And Jennifer, I mean, she is a phenomenal leader, and I learn so much from her every single time we do anything. I mean, the two of them are such a dynamic duo, and I'm so blessed that we can do this together, this life together. And I'm blessed that they get to do Danny Johnson too. This is togetherness to me, and unity is so important. So I mean, I appreciate what I've gotten.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it, Nancy. So I'm going to kind of ask some questions, and this is where you can have that pen and paper handy and kind of take internal notes. Because again, I'm a question asker. I'm not here to sell you on anything. My heart is that you would have the peace in deciding what's going to be best for you. And I don't know those answers. I don't know what you're walking through. So I got asked a question, and it was, what do you believe is one of the most important things that people need to recognize inside themselves to identify if they have a fixed mindset and they feel stuck personally on a personal level or in business? So I'm going to ask, and so in terms of that question, I look at it this way. I ask the question of, have you been frustrated or worried, anxious, stressed out about these following things? Because this will help you get really laser focused in looking at what you need to do to get unstuck or de-stressed or unanxious. Or, taking you to the next level. So if you've ever felt any of those things about money or income, is it your bills, your monthly bills that you can't afford? You're living paycheck to paycheck, you are drowned, and you hate the thought of owing money, but you don't see a way out. If you have strained relationships, you hate people, maybe you even hate yourself, you hate the thoughts that attack you inside your head and you don't know how to deal with it. And I'm just being legit, because this was me. I hated myself. I couldn't look myself in the mirror and say, I love myself. I couldn't. Burnt out from too much on your plate. Being a people pleaser and afraid to say no and set healthy boundaries, which leads to burnout and more stress. None or very small results in your business, whether it is Young Living or you have a business outside of Young Living that you do. Watching your fellow group mates in Young Living struggle, like very frustrating. I don't know how to get them to the next level. I lack the skills and leadership, but I'm afraid to admit that. What will they think of me because I asked them to join me and I am an executive and they're a star and they'd really like to be executive? Those kind of thoughts. People who are not showing up for the appointment or the follow-up call in Young Living, like the prospecting and closing skills. What are your frustrations? And I want you to really, write it out. Take a moment to write it out, journal about it, because if you don't know what your frustrations are, you don't know what to look at for tools and solutions. So what do you do once you've got that figured out? You've got it in front of you. Well, okay, maybe finances are my problem. Maybe I suck with people and I just never realized it. Admit that you might have a challenge. That's step one. Admit that you might be struggling somewhere, and just maybe I need to be teachable in that area. And what does teachable look like? Teachable is not just consuming information, but it's taking that information and doing something with it. So if I stink at prospecting and closing calls, and I come and I learn the skills, and I'm using the script books that are offered, and I'm using 6 figures in 6 months, and I'm using Prospect and Close Your Way to Millions, which are all tools that DannyJohnson.com provides. Am I executing and am I making the calls? Am I using the script books? Am I practicing and recording myself to know what I sound like to other people? Do I come across as monotone or pushy or salesy? 2, what skills do I need? So becoming teachable, what skills do I need? Let's take a really good hard look at that. So where am I struggling? What skills do I need? Where can I get those skills from? And there are a ton of places you can get them from, but you also have to be very careful to look at the results of that teacher or that program. Because I've seen people where it's like work a gajillion hours a week, blow off your family, and once you've made it big, you can buy back the time. Jennifer knows exactly what I'm talking about. So work 90 hours a week, burn yourself out. It's okay. In 2 years, you'll be a massive success. Not quite. You have a very limited time window with your family. And those are years you're never going to get back. So where can I get the skills from? How serious am I about getting unstuck? And that's a question, that's like the big question. How serious are you about getting unstuck? Well, how long have you been stuck? What have you been stuck with? What have you tried to fix it? Right? So like these are questions to be asking yourself, because again, it's about self-discovery. And when you can be really honest with yourself, then you can take a look at the solution and be serious about acting out on it. Otherwise, you are just maybe throwing money at something and praying and hoping it sticks. And that's a different kind of mentality. I call it a poverty lottery mentality. It's the mindset of, ooh, I hope it works. I'm not going to really apply it. Or I'll use the excuse if I don't have the money. I'll use the excuse of fear. What if it doesn't work for me? I'll use many, I don't have the time. I'll use all the excuses I can, but I'll hope it works. I'll check out all the free stuff. Awesome. And I hope it works. So that's the poverty lottery mentality. The other mentality that I see is half committed people. So I'm halfway committed. I'll invest some money. I'll try it for a little bit, but I'm probably not going to follow all the directions. That's really direct. I don't want to use that line in the script book. I'm afraid of that. What will my friends think? What will my coworkers think? Wendy's going to think I'm a wackadoo for asking how serious are you? So I'm not going to use that. So that's the half committed person. They'll follow some of it and they'll leave the rest. The third kind of person, which is who Wendy is, this is who Jennifer is, this is who Nancy is, they're all in. They've gotten over their excuses. They have focused on doing the work. And what do I mean by the work? They're teachable, which means they are getting their hands on the information. They are taking action with that information so that they can get the result they want. That's the third kind of person. They're all in, they're committed. So you have to ask yourself, which one are you? And be okay with being truthful. Oh, I'm a 1. Man, I'm like, oh, I suck, but I really want to be a 3. Or, ooh, I realize I'm a 2 when I thought I was a 3. It's okay. You're at where you're at. You get to choose in your very next step what that's going to look like. So I'm gonna close this up by saying, admit you might have a challenge, become teachable, figure out where you're struggling. I want to make sure, Jennifer says she almost destroyed her family and marriage. It was bad. Is that in terms of like the working crazy hours and like ignoring everyone and blowing everyone off and hiding in your workspace? Yeah. So we're focused on the holistic approach that you can have what you want in balance, in peace, in time. And if you have kids, no matter how old they are, they're watching you. They watch what you do. You can have an impact on them. What would it be like to raise a family that never experiences debt from your kids? How would that feel for you that they didn't have to go into debt? How would it feel that they are strong enough in who they are, that they're not second guessing their value or struggling with shame like I did, that they know what their identity is in and they know they are of value because they exist? What would that do for them? What would that do for you? Maybe you're struggling with those same things of, am I worthy? Am I really meant to succeed? These are all mindsets and things that I've been struggling with. So just as I struggle, other people struggle. And the whole goal here is a holistic approach of getting you unstuck. So for young living people, I have several steps for you. If you are a 3, you are deadly committed. I have got to figure this out. I am willing to do what it takes. I'm willing to take the time. Your next step is going to be call Tammy. I am going to post my number here so that way you guys know how to reach me. Again, I'm a holistic approach person. So what I mean by that is we're going to talk about where you feel stuck individually. We're going to come up with a solution for you, customized to you to get you unstuck. Is it Young Living? Is it finance? Is it relationships? Is it all the above? I'm a hot mess everywhere. We'll figure that out. The other thing is we are doing a First Steps to Success, which is a training seminar dedicated to getting people unstuck. We're doing something a little different. Maybe you heard about it, maybe you haven't. Normally, this is a live event. You travel someplace, you show up, and you're in a hotel room with like thousands of your best friends, and you're learning together, growing together. We're doing something a little different because we want your protection first. We want your safety. We want to honor what the government is saying. So right now in the space we're in, it is learning from home. So this is going to be our very first ever virtual event that you can do from home. You just need an internet connection and Wi-Fi. So if you want to get registered for that, you will also call me to get registered. That is going to be the weekend of April 25th. So again, you're doing it from home. You can do it from the comfort of your couch. You can do it from your dining room table. But it's a great way to get qualified to be able to really attack what's been attacking you. Furthermore, you've heard some people on here talk about dynasty. That's more of a leadership. That's more of, okay, we understand the basics of getting out of debt. Now, how do we make our money work for us? How do we better connect with people on a deeper level? How do we understand how other people are wired? First Steps will give you beginning levels. Dynasty takes it's like a home run for Dynasty. So First Steps is like the classroom environment. You're taking notes, you're learning. Dynasty, now you are in the lab and you are applying what you learned. So to be Dynasty qualified, you have to go through First Steps. The virtual First Steps in April is going to get you qualified for Dynasty if you have that hunger to just pull the best out of you. There's that. And then the pricing, there are 3 ways to go. The individual person, the cost for the virtual First Steps is $337. The family pack, we have a family 5-pack. So if you have family, blood relation or married in relation, we have a 5-pack for $1,000. That puts it at $200 per person. And then we have a business pack of 10. So if you have 10 business builders, they can be in your line. They could be a sister line. I know a lot of Young Living people are amazing about that, how they help their sister lines, whether they benefit or not, which is why I love working with Young Living people, because you guys really care about your fellow business builders too. So the business pack is 10 seats for $2,000. That's again $200 per person, saving $137 off of what it normally costs. So if you're serious about joining us and getting unstuck, give me a call. And my number, just for those who can't see comments, if you're catching a replay, it's 830-225-1639. Again, 830-225-1639. And again, my name is Tammy. You can also call the call center, which their number is on the website, dannyjohnson.com. And you can just call and ask for Tammy. My goal is that my job is not done until you have started getting the results you want. And I'm very passionate about that. Again, I moved from Arizona to be with this company because of the results I've personally experienced, from being a people hater, self-hating, lying, manipulative, to what I've become now. And I can definitely tell you it's a 180-degree difference completely. So I want to say again, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me throw you on the spot. To Wendy, to Todd, to Jennifer, to Nancy, thank you for your support and your hunger to really pull out the best in each other, especially during this time. It's so important that we unify. And I call it social distancing with a twist, because we can't be social distancing. We need each other more than ever. It might be a physical distance, but it's certainly not a social distance. So thank you again for being on this call, whether you caught the live or the replay. I welcome your calls. I want to know how we can really support you as a team. And yeah, thank you for being here. Are you guys okay if we end in prayer real quick? Would that be okay? Okay, awesome. I'm getting a thumbs up. So, Father, we just say thank you. Thank you for the walk that you have us on. Thank you even for the challenges and trials that you put before us, that we could choose to grow in that time, or we could stay stagnant. And the choice is ours because you've blessed us with free will. We just thank you for your creation. We thank you for your guidance, your wisdom. We thank you for the tools, the minds that you've given us, the overcomer that you put inside of each and every one of us to be able to really step up in the situations that we're stuck in. I just ask for healing in every way, shape, and form for every single person on the call, who is going to be listening to the replay, anyone who they are connected with who is struggling spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically, in their finances, in their relationships with you, themselves, and other people. I just ask for massive momentum and blessing to their businesses, whatever they put their hands to, that they would prosper. I ask for them to prosper with peace. And I ask for that because I don't want it to be something where someone's working a million hours a week. I want it to be a peaceful, steady, balanced flow between them and their families. I don't want it to be someone always thinking about business when they should be focused on family. I don't want it to be someone who's distracted in their business because they're concerned about their family or how they're going to get their next meal. I ask for your peace and your blessing over every area of everyone's life. And I just thank you for your provision. I thank you that you minister things, you organize things. You're the great organizer, and you know 7 million people. So I ask that their businesses grow because you're going to refer people to them based on their skill set and based on how you're raising them up as leaders. I ask just for a massive explosion in each and every person's business and in their walk with you. I just ask for you to guide them with what their next step looks like, whether it's joining us or whether it's taking advantage of the free content on DannyJohnson.com or investing in a couple tools to help them out. Whatever the strategy is, whatever's going to get them unstuck, that's my desire. We just thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, we say thank you and amen. Thank you again.
Tammy.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Tammy.
much. Absolutely. You guys have a great day, okay?
All
You be
right,
blessed.
thank you.
Thank you
Be
so much.
safe.
Mhm.